Hello there, and welcome back to the Nestling Schoolhouse. I'm Audie, and we are going to be continuing our Mythbusters mini-series today. We are going to be tackling a really big common myth, and that is, are homeschoolers behind academically? And do they stand up to the test of other schools, public, private, religious, or otherwise? And before we do a deep dive into it, the answer is yes, they do keep up with all their peers, and more often than not, they actually thrive academically far more than their traditional school peers. So without further ado, let's get into it. The idea that homeschoolers are falling behind often stems from the problem of comparing homeschooling students to traditional school peers. A lot of people have the misconception that because homeschooled students do not have the same benchmarks or schedule or curriculum that many other schools utilize, that must mean that they are behind. But homeschooling isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of schooling. It's more of a unique size to each individual child. It is a tailored education to fit the needs of each child. And that's honestly what makes it so effective compared to other curriculums in other school systems and other systems that are out there. Let's talk about why homeschoolers tend to thrive in a homeschool setting. First, there's personalized learning, right? So homeschooling allows you to meet your child where they are. So if they're struggling in one area, you can slow down and really spend time on that subject. But if they're excelling in others, you can speed through and move along to the next thing that they can understand and grow with and learn. That's why it's not uncommon to hear some homeschoolers say, oh, I'm in 3rd grade math, 5th grade language arts, I can read at a 12th grade level, and my writing skills are right around 8th grade. Because in homeschooling, there's not always grades. It's more what fits into where the child's at and their learning development in comparison to public school standards. Second is there's fewer distractions, right? With smaller class sizes, we're able to focus and dive down deep into what a child needs, right? There's not as much going on with a smaller class size. And third, real-world applications. We have the opportunity to go on more field trips and go experience things and do things hands-on than traditional schools do, just because of the laws that go around with trying to plan days to go out and learn things hands-on, the amount of resources that takes with busing and scheduling and getting chaperones, and then the funds in order to be able to take an entire grade to go do an experience, or even just an entire class to go do a certain experience. At homeschool, you don't have to worry about that. It's just whatever fits within your own family's budgets and needs. And then fourth, passion-driven education. This is probably my favorite. It allows kids to be able to choose the subjects that they are passionate about and to dive deeper into them than a lot of public school kids have the opportunity to do. Now, it's not to say public school kids, of course, can't have their interests and hobbies and learn things outside of traditional school hours, but the reality is there are fewer hours in the day to be able to do those things than if you are homeschooled. What does the research say, though? As you might know, there has been a plethora of research done on homeschoolers in the last couple of decades to see where they are at academically compared to their public school peers. I'm going to include a couple of them around on the screen so that you can click on them and research them for yourself, and I will also include them in the description box below, along with additional research opportunities that are out there. But right here, if you click here, you'll see the standardized test scores, because according to the National Home Education Research Institute, homeschooled students typically score 15 to 25 percentile points above public school students on standardized academic achievement tests. You click up here then you'll see that college entrance exams, usually the SATs and the ACTs. So data indicates that homeschooled students achieve higher average scores on college entrance exams like the SAT than their public school peers. And if you click right here, then you'll see college performance. So research summarized by the Coalition for Responsible Home Education suggests that homeschooled students perform comparably to their traditionally schooled peers in college settings. That just goes to show how much research has been done to emphasize the fact that homeschoolers are educated, and research is suggesting that they tend to fare better than their traditional schooled peers. Okay, but what about gaps in learning? This is a common concern, and it's an understandable one. But no matter what kind of education you receive, there are going to be gaps in your education. It is literally impossible for somebody to learn everything in this lifetime. It's just impossible. There's going to be gaps somewhere. I'm not going to know the theoretical science and physical questions that there are to the universe, right? That's just not something I'm probably ever going to learn in this lifetime. So, is that a learning gap or is that a deficiency? Certainly, it's a gap, right? But it's not a gap that I need to necessarily fill in order to live my life. The important part is that I will become a lifelong learner, and that if there isn't something that I understand, that I will have the skills and resources in order to seek out answers to those questions and those concerns and those wonders that I might have. And that's the whole point of homeschooling, is to instill those beliefs and values into students. For us personally, I was worried about Eloise being able to stay on track with public schooled kids, which is honestly why I ended up pulling her out of school, because she was really struggling with reading and math concepts when she was in public school in the first grade. And I had mentioned how I wanted to have her repeat the first grade because she was not ready. I could see that she wasn't ready. Her test scores were showing that. Her ability to read when we tried to do our one-on-one reading time in the evenings was not thriving at all. And my conversations I've had with her teachers were telling me that she wasn't ready, but still there was a strong push to push Eloise along even though she was not ready. So I pulled her out with anticipation of me doing her education at home and catching her up to where her public school peers were. That way, if she ever did want to go back to the public school system, that I could certainly just ease her back in once she had a firm foundation. But now she's thriving so much that I don't want to necessarily send her back. She's doing amazing at home. She loves being homeschooled. She tells me every day how glad she is she's homeschooled, and to have that freedom and that flexibility and to just be a kid and be able to find the things that she's interested in and passionate about and learn and grow that way. So if you're worried about your child having gaps or being deficient, please know that home education is not going to hold them back. How can you feel confident in your ability to homeschool? First and foremost is to choose a strong curriculum. We utilize a lot of the good and the beautiful for our homeschool curriculum, but I have looked at many other curriculums, and we do supplement here and there with other curriculums as well. But the majority has been the good and the beautiful, and that's worked really well for our family and our learning style. And that might really work for your family. It might not work for your family, but find a curriculum that works really well for you and for your kids and your teaching style and their learning style. Second is to focus on mastery over speed. This is something that I struggled with a lot when we first started homeschooling. I wanted to just get through the curriculum as quickly as possible to say that she finished first grade and she's caught up. But that is not what she needed. She needed me to slow down and to really have the foundation built. That was the whole point of me pulling her out of school. But I still had this in the back of my mind that I needed to catch her up and to do that quickly. But realistically, we weren't racing against anybody, right? I just needed to beat her at her pace and to keep going and persevering in that way. 3, track progress your way. So I utilize a spreadsheet that I use on Google Sheets. That way I can edit on my phone, I can edit it on my computer, I can go anywhere in the world and I can edit it just because it's all on the cloud. But with that, I track what lessons we do. I also keep her materials that she's finished as a way to say, this is what she's done, this is what she's accomplished. I'm working now on building out a portfolio, and these are just different things that you can do to keep progress. A lot of homeschoolers do this just to make sure that if the laws and regulations in their state change and they do need to start reporting, that they have that in place. Some states do require that you keep track of your child's education in order to have it evaluated on a yearly basis, sometimes semi-annual basis, in order to make sure that progress is being made. 4, ask for help when you need it, right? Homeschooling, it can be a very isolating thing for some families, some people, if they don't have a strong homeschool group, which is why I emphasize that it's so important to have a strong homeschool group. But if you need help and you feel like you can't provide things for your child and the education that they deserve, it's okay to sign up for tutors, online classes, local resources, community college classes. There's so many free online classes now through Harvard and Google and other types of academies and universities. There are so many options out there. So don't feel like you have to do it all if you don't feel capable of doing it all. And then, of course, 5, celebrate your successes, right? It's a long journey. You should celebrate your wins, right? And if we don't celebrate the wins, then it's so hard to have the perseverance to keep going. But if we take a second to really enjoy the moment, then that makes the journey all the much more sweeter. Are homeschoolers be falling behind academically? No, they are not. Absolutely not. Homeschooling gives kids the freedom to learn in ways that suit them best. And the results speak for themselves. Again, look through the comment section below, look through the description box below, and you'll see the plethora of research that has been done to show the success that homeschoolers have been able to do and accomplish. And I just want to let you know, if this video has encouraged you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more homeschooling myth-busting tips and guides, and of course, all the other homeschooling mini-series we are going to be doing in the future. Let me know in the comments below, what is one academic success your child has experienced through homeschooling? I'd love to celebrate those wins with you. All right, y'all, until next time, happy homeschooling.